Hadn't really trained and I'd sweat off 15 pounds to be a welterweight. I was listening to one the other day. Sounded like a pretty good last song was For the Good Times, when Kris Kristofferson died in September 2024. The world mourned a country legend. But 1 year later, shocking details are surfacing about what really happened in his final decade. For 10 years, doctors told him he had Alzheimer's disease. They gave him powerful medications that made him worse. His family watched him disappear before their eyes. Then, in 2016, everything changed with one simple test. The truth about his condition wasn't just medical malpractice. It was a tragedy that robbed him of his final performing years and nearly destroyed his legacy. Kris Kristofferson was born on June 22, 1936 in Brownsville, Texas, a town sitting right on the Mexican border. His mother was Marian Ashbrook and his father was Lars Henry Kristofferson, U.S. Air Force general of Swedish descent, who later became a major general and worked for Saudi Aramco after retiring. Kris grew up as an Air Force brat, moving constantly as his father's military assignments took the family across America. The disciplined life shaped his character, but it also created tension. His father pushed him hard toward a military career, a path Kris never truly wanted. When the family finally settled in San Mateo, California during his early teenage years, he carried with him the sense of wandering and displacement that would later run through his songs. By the time he was 11, Kris showed a side of himself no one expected. He wrote his first song bluntly titled "I Hate Your Ugly Face." The lyrics were shockingly sharp for a child, including the line, "Most heartbroken lovers wish their sweetheart's happiness. I just hope you're miserable, you sorrow-looking mess." It was the kind of dark humor that stood out from the simple verses most kids his age could write. Decades later, in 2009, he included it as a bonus track on his album Closer to the Bone. That little song hinted at the wit and honesty that would define his career as one of country music's boldest storytellers. In school, Kris proved he wasn't just talented with words. At San Mateo High and later at Pomona College, he was a powerhouse athlete. He became a Golden Gloves boxer, competing in elimination fights and even knocking out opponents before being defeated himself at Pomona. His talents were so wide-ranging that Sports Illustrated featured him in their March 31, 1958 issue under Faces in the Crowd. They described him as a young man who played rugby and varsity football, boxed, edited the college paper sports section, sang folk music, won writing awards, and served as an outstanding ROC cadet. On the football field, he played starting left end, despite admitting he was pretty slow but small. In rugby, he and classmates revived the Claremont Colleagues Rugby Club, which became a lasting institution in Southern California. Even with all his time spent on sports, Kris excelled in the classroom. He graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Pomona in 1958, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree summa cum laude in literature. He studied creative writing under Dr. Frederick Santag, a mentor who deeply influenced him. While at Pomona, he entered the Atlantic Monthly's collegiate short story contest and won 4 out of the 20 prizes offered. A remarkable feat, too. Of his winning essays, The Rock and Gone Are the Days were even published in the magazine. The Rock described a geographical feature shaped like a woman's body, while Gone Are the Days explored racial conflict. These early works showed that he wasn't afraid to take on difficult social themes. His success led to a Rhodes Scholarship, one of the most prestigious academic honors in the world, awarded to only 32 American students in 1958, moving from Texas to California and then to Oxford University in England gave Kris a rare cultural mix. As a child in Brownsville, he spent Saturdays at Western movies and rode his first horse soaking up cowboy culture. In California, he immersed himself in poetry and literature, especially the works of William Blake, who he later called a wonderful example for somebody who wanted to be an artist. That mix of cowboy grit and philosophical reflection would become the backbone of his music, a blend of raw honesty and deep thought that set him apart from other songwriters. At Oxford's Merton College, Kris earned his master's degree in English literature in just 2 years. He even planned a third year to write a thesis on how James Joyce's Ulysses influenced William Blake, though he never finished. While studying, he performed folk music under the name Kris Kristofferson and signed with Larry Parnes's Top Rank Records, who promoted him as a Yank at Oxford. His academic success at Oxford matched his athletic drive. In 1959, he earned a full blue, Oxford's highest sporting honor, as a light middleweight boxer in the varsity match against Cambridge. He trained at the famous Thomas à Becket pub in London, where heavyweight champion Henry Cooper worked out. Cooper later remembered him as a charming guy who loved his boxing. At the same time, he played rugby for Merton College. Standing 5 feet 11 inches and weighing 165 pounds, Kris had the perfect build for both sports. Years later, he said that boxing at Oxford was one of the best experiences of his life. In 1961, Kris followed in his father's footsteps and joined the U.S. Army. He completed the grueling Ranger School, something only about 3% of soldiers accomplish, and went on to helicopter pilot training at Fort Rucker, Alabama. Stationed in West Germany with the 8th Infantry Division, he reached the rank of captain by age 29. Even in uniform, his love for music never faded. He played in a band with fellow soldiers at service clubs across Germany. He even volunteered to serve as a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, but was denied. His father had hoped for a lifelong military career, but Kris had other plans. In 1965, he stunned everyone by resigning his commission